Well, the Cleveland Cavaliers do what good teams do. They dominate when they're supposed to. Cavs get a massive win, 118-87. We break it down on this episode on Cleveland Cavaliers on SI. And welcome in, everybody, to another post-game episode on Cleveland Cavaliers on SI. And it sounds like a broken record. We're coming to you after another massive victory. Anthony Moeglin alongside my partner, Spencer "Spin" Davies, who is on site down at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse following just yet another solid performance by the Cleveland Cavaliers. There's so much to talk about, Spin, but where I want to really start is feels like Cavs dodged a bullet as Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell both looked to be shaken up in the third quarter, but both guys, for all intents and purposes, seem to be okay coming out of this one.
They are. They're fine. We talked to them in the locker room. Darius goes, "I'm alive. I'm okay." Like there's no anticipated time for either of them to miss after this, even though it took a while for Darius to get off the court, left the game, did not return in the third quarter. Same thing with Donovan Mitchell. He gets a stinger running into Jonas Valanciunas on a screen, and he's, walking off the court with his arm hanging down. Everyone's probably gasping in the audience and all concerned, and it looked more significant than it really was. It was just a stinger, he said. He's like, "That's why I don't play football, guys." But he comes back in, immediately tests it, immediately goes into the paint once he comes back into a rousing ovation from the crowd and does what Donovan does, so that's good on that front. And then Darius's injury happened it was almost like an NFL quarterback pass to a receiver, kind of right into a defender. Evan, he was using basically an over-the-top pass to Darius, who was cutting, which you love to see. But Jonas Valanciunas, again, JV, the culprit of these injuries with Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell, just being a big guy and sturdy. Yeah. Darius just runs right into his elbow, and he was down there for a while and did not come back. But those two are okay. Cavs fans can take a deep breath on that one. They're fine, and no damage there.
Yeah, we call those hospital passes in the business when you just leave your guy at the dry spin. But what I think was really impressive tonight, and for everybody jumping in, really appreciate it. Hit that comment section. Let us know what you think about the Cavs 118-87 victory tonight. But Spin, what I thought was really impressive tonight is this had the makings of being kind of like a trappy type of game, right? You're early on in the season, you're out of the NBA Cup, or at least the meaningful games of the NBA Cup, and you're coming off of the biggest win of the season, right? That comeback, high emotional victory over the Boston Celtics just a few nights ago. And this was an opportunity. This could have been a spot where the Cavs just sleepwalk through a game, but it didn't feel that way. They came out hot. They came out with a purpose. And that shows me that, hey, this is a mature group and a group that has their eyes set on a bigger goal. They're not just concerned about getting the 20 wins first or having a good regular season. They have their priorities kind of in the right spot and understand that, hey, this season isn't won in December. This is one where we got to continue to build positive momentum.
And Don used your word, man, trap game. It had all the makings of it. You're coming off of, like you said, an emotional win over one of the top teams in the NBA. And there's an opportunity to look ahead because they're playing Denver Nuggets on Thursday to wrap up this homestand. But they came into the same focus. They came with the maturity level that Kenny Atkinson was hoping to see. These are the games that you really learn about your team. And, they put the pedal to the metal, and they really took it to these guys, especially on the defensive end. Kenny wasn't really all that pleased with their offensive effort tonight. Maybe not, because there was a ton of fouls happening combined between the two. 41 fouls, a lot of stoppages. We mentioned Darius and Donovan going down with injury earlier. The Wizards throughout the game, it just felt like they had guys dropping like flies. You had rookie Kaishan George go down with a left ankle sprain. You had Corey Kispert leave the game with an ankle sprain. And then later on in the third quarter, you had Malcolm Brogdon leave the game with right knee soreness. So it was just, I describe this as a car wreck of a game, just as far as how much damage guys were taking. It just seemed like every step you were looking, someone was down or someone was stopping the game because somebody else was hurt or something like that. So just lucky to come out of this one healthy, first of all. But second of all, just the defensive effort was huge. A lot of that on Karis LeVert, did a great job. He's been solid on that end of the floor since he's come back. It was nice to have Dean Wade back for that defensive effort as well, making a bunch of havoc and really covering those passing lanes and staying in front of guys. Jared Allen, I thought, was really good defensively tonight as well. Evan Mobley had a sick block with the left hand today. Again, he's a left-handed player. I'm going to keep saying it until people catch on. But, it was more of the defensive end where they were really on their P's and Q's and attacking guys and making sure that they were all up in them and really getting those turnovers. They had 11 steals tonight, man. That's a pretty good number.
It's really good. And you mentioned a little bit earlier about Donovan's comments in the postgame. Encourage everybody who's watching us right now, our Two Ugly Mugs, jump into our YouTube page. We got interviews up from Darius, Evan, Donovan, and head coach Kenny Atkinson. All really, really good stuff. So I encourage you guys to jump in there and go check it out. So, Spin, you're impressed by the defense. I was a little impressed by the offense. This was a really good game from the Cavaliers, and not in a way that we haven't seen and we haven't needed to this point. But 7 guys finish in double figures. We almost have 8 guys finish in that double figure mark, as Isaac Okoro finished with 8 points. But a really balanced attack. Every single Cav who dressed tonight got into the ball game. And one guy that stood out to you was Sam Merrill with a nice clean 14.6 assists. 4 out of 9 from 3-point land evening tonight. Pretty impressive by the young guard.
I did. I liked what I saw from Sam tonight, and Kenny kind of highlighted it in his post game. Was just he showed that he was able to put it on the deck and take it into the paint. He told Sam, he's like, "You're not just limited to being a 3-point shooter. We've been over this." Kenny's really highlighted his defense. Donovan's been really vocal about his defense as well. But on the offensive end, you kind of just look at Sam and you think he's going to come off the screens and shoot threes. Sometimes you can get some bad shots coming off of those. And maybe they're contested or something like that. So instead, Sam was putting it on the floor tonight, getting and touching into the paint and making plays for his teammates. Just simple bounce passes. It was fundamental stuff, but it was quick decisions. It was working, and he was setting guys up. And then from there, he was just kind of taking it himself and doing a good job of just being more than one-dimensional. And that's something that we know Sam is not one-dimensional, but other teams just feel like they can run him off the line and he's not going to do anything. Well, he can show you he's definitely multi-tooled in that way. And then defensively tonight, just again, getting into bodies, doing a good job of just staying stout and staying disciplined on his feet. So he did a good job. I thought the bench in general did a good job. George Niang, again, solid defensive game. He had a couple of trays tonight, and he's doing a good job of just moving his feet and being that big body too. I thought he took on some challenges like JV and Alexandre Sarr, the 2nd overall pick this past summer. So good stuff from the bench. Dean Wade, first game back since November 17th. Didn't make a shot. His first shot was really, really strong air ball, which is okay. We saw the bench. They were kind of having a laugh about it. All 5 of his shots were 3-pointers. So it's good that he's getting them up, and, he's got to get back into his rhythm. But defensively, you always know what you're going to get from that guy. And obviously, he crashes the glass on both ends. So good stuff from Dean, even though he didn't have quite a good time offensively today. But overall, like you said, the balance was there. We saw a lot more shot distribution and, 31 assists on 43 field goals. That's more of what this Cavs team likes to do.
Yeah, really, really good. And kind of going through the full box here. Mobley finishes with 19 points, 10 boards. Jared Allen finished with 11 points. He was 5 of 6 from the field. Darius Garland, in just 17 minutes, had 12 points, was an efficient 4 of 7 from the field. Did offer up 3 assists as well. Donovan Mitchell, 19 points on 6 of 15 shooting, 7 assists, and 5 rebounds to his tally. And then to the bench, George Niang, 14 points, 6 rebounds, 2 of 5 from behind the arc. Karis LeVert, 10 points in just 24 minutes. And then finally, Sam Merrill, 14 points and 6 assists. One thing that stood out to me, Spin, was kind of the finisher that Donovan put on, right? This is a very balanced attack tonight. It was the Cavs winning in a brand new way, but your superstar put his exclamation point on it in his last minutes of the game, where he had a nice take to the bucket, got it up and in, and then on the ensuing inbound possession, stole a lazy pass, buried a triple right in front of the Wizards bench. It forced a timeout, and Donnie pretty much waved to the crowd, said, "My night's over, and good night, everybody. Get home safe."
It was a cherry on top, Megs. That's just what he does. That's how he knows how to kind of shut it down. That's it for the game. And, he had a number of moments today. One of my favorites, honestly, was when he got a defensive 3-second called on him. And you know how Jared Allen always celebrates those. He raises his fist in the air. Yeah, he looked back at Jarrett and just went like this. And you heard Jarrett just reciprocate, from the bench. Like, it was awesome. Very cool moment. Hopefully, we could see that going around social channels. But Donovan today really set the tone with his playmaking. He went inside a lot to start this game, and he sprayed out. He had 6 points and 4 assists right off the bat. 3 of those were three-pointers. One was to Darius, another was to Isaac, and the other one was to Evan Mobley, who was ready to shoot. So, a little bit of spraying out for Donovan, and he didn't do as much playmaking. Darius didn't do as much playmaking as Donovan did in that opening quarter, and it just really set the tone. And Darius was instead, as per usual, shooting and getting guys involved. But Donovan had the assists early in that, and then obviously both of them.
Really, really appreciate the professionalism out of this group to come out. It could have been like we talked about. This is such a spot where they could have just laid down, came out sloppy, won a close game that didn't need to be close, but they took care of business and get a 40-point win. And I don't care where you are, what you are, that's hard to do in the NBA, and that's bad math by me. No, that's good math. No, it's bad math by me. It's a 31-point win.
We don't do math around here.
We're not math guys, dude. That's why we talk. We're not math guys. But what we do know is that big week ahead for the Cavs, right? It's just going to get a little bit tougher. They got the Nuggets coming to town on Thursday night, and then they go to a Saturday, Sunday back-to-back on the road, down to Charlotte on Saturday afternoon. That's a Saturday 1 p.m. tip, and then a Sunday night matchup with the hated Miami Heat down in South Beach coming up here. So bunch of good games coming up here. And Spin, any of those that stand out to you as the Cavs finish up a tough week here with a little bit of a break? I think there's an NBA Cup game in between Sunday and next Friday when they take on the Bucks. Or am I wrong in that?
No, you're right. They will have to have at least one home game and one away game to make up for those NBA Cup games that obviously the rest of the league has to deal with too while everyone's doing their thing in Vegas. But I'm looking forward to Thursday, man. Cap the homestand against the Nuggets. That there are championship caliber players on that team, but it's got to be said, they're a little younger. Off the bench, you have Julian Strawther. Christian Brown is now in the starting lineup for them, and Peyton Watson doing a lot for them. But Aaron Gordon, I'm not sure if he came back tonight for them or not. I know he had a calf injury, but he was probable going into their matchup this evening. But probably going to be back in the lineup. He hasn't been playing here as of late, so that'll be another big piece for them coming back against Cleveland, of course. And then Russell Westbrook off the bench doing a lot of good stuff for them. In addition to, as we know, what Nikola Jokic does, the MVP of the league, possibly any year that you really want to pick it. So they're tough. They're a tough matchup. They're a tough group, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the Cavs face them. And that should be a really good one on Thursday. And then you look ahead to the back-to-back this weekend. Charlotte is no slouch. They are fast. They are a confident group, and you got to look out. I mean, LaMelo's one thing, but my eyes are on Brandon Miller. That guy needs to get a little bit more love. He is just blossoming before our very eyes. And, we talked about this on our podcast. To subscribe, by the way, Courtside with Cavs on SI. But Miami, the South Beach stuff, that's not going to really apply because they play on a back-to-back. So they're not going to really be able to enjoy a night out. I know it's an afternoon game in Charlotte. Maybe they get in a little late and have a dinner and some wine or something like that. But not the usual nightlife that can affect them, I think, on that Sunday night matchup. So
I foresee a delayed flight or some kind of problems in the Charlotte airport that Kenny Atkinson dials up. But will be a fun week. It's obviously jam-packed. You got the MVP, Nikola Jokic in town, and then that fun back-to-back on Saturday and Sunday. So while the Cavs are loaded up this week, we'll also be loaded up here on Cleveland Cavaliers on SI, as Spin mentioned. Courtside on the Cavs, the podcast, available on YouTube, also available anywhere you get your podcast. So Spotify, Apple Music, wherever that may be. Jump in there. Rate 5 stars. Spin and the rest of the group are doing a great job doing that. Also available on our page, all of the player availabilities within the locker room. Spin's doing a great job getting that all up for you. And then coaches' interviews as well from the press conference area. So all of that is available on our YouTube channel. So hit that subscribe button. And go over to our written website, si.com/NBA/Cavaliers. That's right below us on that ticker right there. Get over to that site. Guys are working hard over there. So, Spin, before we get out of here, any final words before we shut it down for the night?
Yeah, you guys really just got to go through and listen to Kenny Atkinson talk before tonight's game. Obviously, named Coach of the Month by the NBA in the Eastern Conference, first time in his career. Cavs started out 17-3, their best start since the 2008-2009 season. But Kenny, first time he's ever won the award, and he was very, very thankful to the organization and for the continuity and the players that they had inside the building, and gave them all the credit. Said it was 99% them and 1% coaching. So,
dude,
really
he's
cool.
So fun, man. Dude, he's so fun.
He is. He's a good guy. He's genuine, authentic, whatever term you want to come up with. And it clearly trickles down to the locker room. But keep an eye on social pages tonight. I'll be having some stuff from the locker room that was hilarious coming out on Twitter for sure.
Well, look at this guy. This is a capital J journalist over there, leaving a nice little cliffhanger. And we will get out of here on that. Cleveland Cavaliers get a massive 118-87 victory over the Washington Wizards. For my partner, Spencer Spin Davies, I'm Anthony Moeglin. Thanks for joining us on tonight on Cleveland Cavaliers on SI.